How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's NASCAR DFS Picks Show. We are doing the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Phoenix. It is your host, TK Nation 47, joined by Andrew Berry, Mega Ruler 31. How are you doing, Andrew? And are you ready for some Phoenix Motor Speedway?
Yeah, I'm ready for this after Las Vegas, where it was 3 straight days of, that's what happens in Vegas. You take a gamble. It's like felt like we had the right plays, and it was just all the value plays in the truck race wrecked out. And Xfinity, I went with Harrison Burton. I thought he was doing really well, and he was. My strategy was working for about 80 laps, and then Cindric turns him, and you
Yeah.
know, I still cash, but it wasn't like the hundreds that I would have won. And then we have Cup and Alex Bowman, took him as my dominator up top, and everything was going swell. And then he cut the tire goes down, finishes towards the back, didn't work out. But again, it was profitable. So, but looking forward to a new track and better luck.
Yeah, amen to that. I was all over Brad Keselowski last week, and I was feeling really good about that pick. Unfortunately, there was just one car better than him last week, and that was Kyle Larson. But really solid process. You would think, Mega, after the 150 lines that I built and where I had the majority of Keselowski in them, I would have been extremely profitable. Unfortunately, I had no value picks go my way, and when you don't get the whole lineup right, it doesn't matter who you get as your dominator, right? I didn't have enough Kyle Larson, I didn't have enough Kyle Busch, and Keselowski couldn't edge past Larson at the end there, and didn't get to the number I wanted to see. But enough about last week. Let's jump into some Phoenix real quick before we get going. We are doing coupon codes this month for FSI here, and I'm going to be dropping our coupon code midway through the show. So you have to be listening in and search for our coupon codes, and that is for 15% off for any one purchase except for a daily subscription and or unfortunately this NASCAR season long subscription. But you can get a 15% off coupon code for our monthly packages and our weekly packages. As you know, you can get a weekly package. You get 3 races. You get 2 races this week, but if you pick your player cards right, you'll get 3 races on that 15% off coupon code. So listen in for me stopping the show for that coupon code. And enough about that. Let's get into our picks. We have the Call 811 Before You Dig 200 presented by Arizona 811. I do not want to say that ever again in my life. That is horrific. That is the actual title sponsor of this race. Mega, please don't ever make me say that again. It's absolutely horrible. It's 200 laps. We got a 1 mile oval. Phoenix, low flat track, not that much tire wear. It's all about your setup. It's all about how well you can drive in an oval, right? That's what we do.
It's kind of like you take like these 1.5 mile tracks and it had a baby with a short track, because there are some like corners in here where it is some principles of road courses and short track where there's a lot of braking that you have to do, and then the rest of it is more wide open like it would be on a 1.5 mile track. So
yeah, exactly. I think it's like a perfect mix between short and 1.5 miles. But let's get into how we're going to break this down. We're going to do this a little differently. I think we always keep our listeners guessing on how we're going to break down races, which is awesome. This week, it's about finding the dominator. And, last week, it was hard to pinpoint who was going to dominate that race. We were pretty spot on with AJ Allmendinger, but, Daniel Hemrick ended up winning the race. So who are we targeting up top? Give me a couple of favorites we got going here. We could even start with the pole sitter in Daniel Hemrick. How strong are we feeling about him, and maybe 1 or 2 other guys here in the top 5?
I think let's just run through 1 through 12 really quick, because I
think go far away with Hemrick.
Yeah, and what we saw in the last all of the series on the last two races at Homestead and at Vegas, where so many people had an opportunity to get up there and lead. But once towards the end of the race, the car that got out in the clean air, you just couldn't catch them. Restarts, they get out there, they'd break away, and new tires, it didn't matter. They couldn't reel them in. So looking here, Daniel Hemrick, he had a great race, but I just don't see him repeating that here. I think he's a good GPP play, but potential dominator, but not one that I'm looking to roster. Brandon Jones, on the other hand, another Gibbs car. I think that he definitely can get out front early and lead.
Yeah.
Being the number two scares me, but he's under 10,000, so that kind of encourages me a little bit.
Well, the thing with those two is you have both of them as teammates. I kind of think the beginning of the race is going to be a lot of that teammate, them two working together to maintain the first two positions. So even before our competition caution and maybe the ending of stage one, I think we're going to get one or two of them. Well, maybe both, but one of them at least leading the majority of the laps, unless they have really shitty setup, which could absolutely happen. So in that case, Austin Cindric at 3, is 11-2 worth it if he's not going to be leading early?
I think he's a cash play. I think he had a really good car here for I believe he won the title, so in the fall race.
Yeah.
But then again, be careful looking at data for the fall race. Like TK and I were talking about this before the show. Sometimes Phoenix was a championship last year, so
right.
A lot of the times when you have the championship for other cars that are really good will kind of hold back because they don't want to be a factor and ruining out somebody else's. It's like a professional courtesy. So
right.
We have to kind of take that, and then it's hard to look at the spring race because they actually had practice. It was one of the last ones before COVID where like the fastest cars actually started up front. So Cindric, he's good. It just seems like he runs into a bit of trouble here and there. Either it's like runs into somebody, rubs somebody. I fear he's moved a couple of people off the road. So, is there some retribution coming? So I think he's a really good play. I don't know if I'd make him an elite play, but I think he's a solid play in cash. But I'm really interested in the guy behind him, AJ Allmendinger. He he can get up there. He can lead races. He's got the principles from his road course experience of knowing how to brake and get into the corners and everything. Now, Cindric has that too, but I think Allmendinger is a little bit more experienced with it. He's been racing for a long time. He's really committed this year. Seems to have the speed, and at 10-4, I think that he's one of the ones that's going to get out there and dominate and lead a lot of laps.
Oh, yeah, he's AJ's my guy this year. Absolutely agree on him. And I'm just going to be picking him blindly as a dominator every week. I think, like you said, committed to the Xfinity Series this year. I'm really, really good pick in AJ Allmendinger in 4th.
And he's got two teammates like right behind him, and Haley and Burton, also Klua cars. Haley, I'd say, is a GPP. I just don't think this track is a really good one for him. And Jeb Burton, I think, has done well in the beginning of the year, but I don't think he's going to be able. I see him falling backwards, probably even out of the top 10. So to me, he's probably the one fade in the top 10.
Yeah.
And Harrison Burton, I really like him.
Your boy.
I just hope that he doesn't, get up with Cindric and things carry over from last week, because
it might.
You never know. We've seen the Xfinity before. Who had the slobber knocker after the race last year? Was it Grayson and Cindric or somebody?
I think it was Gregson was definitely involved.
Yeah, they might have been.
Yeah,
and that was a build up over a couple weeks. So I mean, these things do happen. It's not like a cornerback in football where you have to have a short memory. Sometimes,
and those are really expensive drivers too, to be playing around with each other on the track. I could see either one of them being a really dominant car. I could also see both of them driving each other really hard and making things really difficult early, wearing them tires early and wearing out those cars and their driving styles early. And that's where we're hoping to see AJ Allmendinger kind of take advantage
Right.
and just get that, and the thing about Allmendinger is they've been really good off the hauler. That whole team has been really good, really fast coming out of the coming out early. So I think we're spot on with our analysis this week with those top 7 cars. Josh Berry and Michael Annett, I kind of lumped them two together, but they're pretty cheap. Are they worth the play?
I think that they can be cash plays. I don't think that they might lead a couple laps if the other people pit and stuff and pick up a couple points there.
Yeah.
I don't think that I think they can maintain their position, maybe
Sure.
move up a little bit. I don't think they'd fall out of the top 15. They seem to be
I
having
agree.
speed and do well. So, but they're in a group that's like a class above them, though. That's the only hard part. I mean, Barry's still a rookie, and that's
Yeah.
I think he's had a couple of years in this series. Not that like some of the
Yeah.
rest of these guys have been in there for like 50 years. Allmendinger has, but
Right.
going back to Burton, the one thing that I do like about him is, he's 10-8, which is kind of more expensive, but he's starting 7th. So if he does fall back a little bit, it's not as bad as if you're like 1 and fall to the top 20, but it also gives
Sure.
you a little bit of place differential.
If he
So
wins, yeah.
rounding out the top 10 is Noah Gragson at 11-6. And
Yeah.
I feel that he is the Kyle Busch of Xfinity. He's a talented driver,
Perfect.
no question.
Yeah.
He's got great equipment,
Absolutely.
no question. But he's over aggressive sometimes, and he just completely misses it. And he's one where he's going to win races this year, and we're going to be like, well, no surprise, he should be winning races. But then there's times where you think he should be winning races, and he's going to disappoint us. So I
Yeah.
think he's just like Kyle, how I treat him in Cup. He's a GPP because he's definitely one that can win you a lot of money and do really well for you, but I do not trust him in my cash builds.
I couldn't agree more. It's perfect analysis. I'm going to leave it right there. We're going to keep going here with spots 11 and 12. Brennan Brown was a big play for us last week. Probably one of the short things that went our way for Xfinity. We didn't get the Dominators, but we certainly got value, right? And Brandon Brown was leading the way. 7,100 starting 11th. Is it worth the play?
It's a good price. I think he moves up a couple spots, but in 71, I don't think you're really going to need to get a ton of Dominator points to pay off. So
No,
I think
just stay where you're at, right?
yeah,
That's all
I
we would
think
want.
I think he's safe, but I think there's some other guys that are just around his price range that we'll talk about. They have a lot of place differential. So
Sure.
if you land on him in your build and he's the last guy in, don't hate it, but I don't think he's a
Sure.
priority.
Perfect. Allgaier 12K. Is this the Kyle Busch of trucks or is this a fade?
I think he's a cash play, but again, I don't think he's an elite cash play. There's the place
No.
differential, which I think people will take. This is one of his better tracks. Like he is really good here, but he's has his issues too, and doesn't always live up to expectations. And some of it has been pit strategy and things like that. He's kept it pretty clean. I don't think he's had too much mechanical or wrecks or anything this season, but
No,
it's a
he's been
steep
okay.
price.
He's just been okay. Yeah, and the price tag is what kind of throws me off. Bill, I kind of want multiple cracks at this top 10, and Allgaier kind of throws a huge wrinkle into that at 12K. Might be fading him tomorrow. We'll see.
And
I can
he's one that was like, he was the heir apparent in the series like last year when you had Bell and Custer and like all those guys move up to Cup, and he just kind of stood still and had like all these other guys pass him. So
right. And that's what I don't like about Allgaier is that he was supposed to dominate and he didn't. And Gregson came along and Jones had his moments and Cindric became the superstar of this series. And now you have guys like Allmendinger who are, pot committed to the Xfinity Series, basically drive better than Allgaier. We're like the same kind of age with experience, and now one of them's 12K and one's 10-4. I'm all in on 10-4.
He's like that AAA player that like he's a fan favorite. He's always super solid and great, and he's like going to win a lot of games for the AAA affiliate, but might
Yeah.
never
Hit
ever get
25
called up to
homers
the
in
big show.
AAA. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's going to strike out, 10 a game and win 20 games in AAA. But as soon as he goes up to the MLB, he's giving up homers left and right.
yep.
That's all Geyer. Not worth it for me at 12K. I agree though. GPP, because it is one of his better tracks. But I buried the lead. We have not talked about possibly one of the young superstars of the sport. My favorite, Ty Gibbs, 27th at 8,900. What to do with Mr. Ty Gibbs?
I think in cash games you have to
You
absolutely
have
lock
to.
him in.
Yeah.
This is more of a block play because if he does what everybody expects him to do and you do not have him, then you're not gonna cash. And he's gonna have such high ownership in cash games. If you take him and he's a fade and he's a flop, it's not gonna hurt you.
Sure.
89 is not bad. I mean, it's a little bit. I wish it was more like like in this probably 7K, but I look some of the guys that are the same price, like Maya Snyder, Brett Moffitt. I think they're decent GPP plays, like starting a little bit higher than him. But I think definitely he's like the first guy that's got to go in your lineup, and you just lock him in and figure out who the other 5 drivers are.
I couldn't agree more. We were saving our own segment for him for a reason. I personally love Ty Gibbs. I'm a fan, but I'm also realistic. This is a lot of these tracks are going to be new tracks. And
who's he drive for?
Joe Gibbs.
You gotta think about that.
Yeah, I mean, the team alone at 27th is going to be enough for me to roster. But new tracks, like I said, for Ty Gibbs. So we don't know how he's going to handle each different track that he's on. I think he had a lot of experience on Daytona with the ARCA series. He did run ARCA tonight. ARCA did run. I was following that for a little bit. He was on the pole. I didn't get a chance to look at any of the results for the ARCA series. So he did have laps on this track tonight. So I will have to look into how he did for those results. I think I agree with you.
The
27.
past 3 years, he was like first, second, and third, and he led like 230 out of like 350 laps. So yeah, just complete domination.
There you have it. Ty Gibbs going to be in a lot of lineups for us. Other GPP plays in this little 8K, 7K range pocket. Who do you have on your list?
GPP. Like I said, Maya Snyder, he had that win, but he's slid back. But he's been solid, got a good team. Brett Moffitt, I think, right in the guys I named. There's some other plays too that in the 30s that will probably be pretty popular because I think people are going to be missing like we started like looking for the dominators up top. I think they're going to still be in like the whole place differential, and it's okay to have like 1 or 2 guys in your line. And I think the 2 guys to kind of consider if you do want place differential, and they're expensive. So, you're going to have to make some sacrifices, but Riley Herbst in the 98, which was Chase Briscoe's car last year. Briscoe wasn't good here, but it's a good equipment. Starting 30th, he's 10-1, which it was pretty expensive, but he should be able to get up into the top 15. So place differential there. Might not lead the race, but he might. He's one with pit strategy and stuff that could get up there, get the caution at the right time, and potentially do that. Ryan Sieg, he's a solid driver too. I think he's going to be very popular at 86, starting 31st. I think people are going to really hammer him for the place differential. And like I said, okay, if you can get a couple dominators in and 1 place differential guy and then throw in some value. But I think you really need to try to figure out up top, like who's going to get those points, because if you go all place differential for this race, you're not going to score enough points to have a competitive lineup.
I couldn't agree more. But I'm going to stop us at this point in time, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our FSI coupon code. So if you have made it to this part of the show, and I hope you have, so you can get this coupon code, it is a 15%
Are they
off.
still watching?
It is 15% off for any one purchase except for the daily subscriptions and for the NASCAR season long subscription. But the code is YouTube March, all one word, YouTube March, for the March Madness that we have going on. Code word YouTube March. Write that down, get 15% off. We're going to be doing a lot of these coupons from here on out. Guy running the show has been instructing us to get these done for him, to get this word out, and I hope he's listening in as well. So thank you to him.
Boss.
Hey, how you doing? All right, let's finish off the show with our everybody's favorite segment, the value plays. What do we need to know about filling out the rest of our lineups with the value plays? I think they're all pretty pinpoint accurate, and I really like how I'm going to be doing my builds this week. I'm going to be sticking with just a few of my value guys and mixing it up like we did in this top 10 and our GPP plays. So let's go ahead and tell them who our favorite value guys are.
I have 4 that I'm really looking at in a lot of my lineups. The first one is Blaine Perkins, and everybody's pretty much like, who's Blaine Perkins?
That's what I said at the beginning of the show, or before the show. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's an ARCA West driver. So I believe he has raced on this track in the ARCA West series, but he's at 47. He's in good equipment. So, you know, why he might be an experience, but he's starting up in the 28th spot. So, I mean, it's a little bit high, but is this the Tyler Reddick car? I think maybe from last week, 23.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, so this equipment we think isn't like really that team's equipment. We think that Reddick bought the points and he took like his good equipment that he was planning on using. So we believe this guy's not going to start in park. He's going to run the race, you know, and he's starting 28th with all the cars that usually end up slow and towards the end. Maybe he'll lose a few points, but he's 4,700. Like, he's so cheap.
Yeah.
So it's just like, for me, it's like kind of like free square. It can get me the other guys that I want.
It's a great cash play in my opinion because of the price tag alone.
So moving up another 1,000, the next guy you're gonna be like, who is this? Loris Hezman.
How'd you guess?
He is the Euro NASCAR champion from 2019. So, you know, he's not going to start in park. He'd not fly over here from another country to just get in a car to ride 5 laps and put it in the garage and collect a check. He wants to, so not sure how great it's a Hattori car. So that's not bad. It's the 61. So that's pretty reliable.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
So, and he's starting 40th. So he can't lose you any points. He can only gain you points. And 57 is definitely very reasonable. 2 other guys in the 6K range I really like is JJ Yaley. He's in the 17 car, which is a decent car. He is starting 33rd.
30th. Yeah.
He's got cup experience, so like he's definitely one that's solid and can move up, and he'll do his thing. He's blue collar lunchbox guy. He'll you know, clock in at the time clock and run his laps and do what he can, play it safe, and, you know, get to the end of the race. So he's one I like. And Greg Alding also, he's had some cup experience. Again, these guys, I don't see them, maybe by chance, if they stay out longer than the rest of the leaders, like do some kind of weird pit strategy. You know, you always see these guys who like, you go to grab a beer, grab a snack, and you come back and you're like, you're like, who's leading? Like, how did Jade Buford get up there? I thought he sucks.
The guy,
you know, and they lead like 2 laps, and then like everybody cycles around, and you never hear them the rest of the race until you see like the smoke coming out of them.
Perfect example. Last week I was watching the Cup Series race, and I got up. I had to do something in the house, and I come back, and Daniel Suarez is in first, and Cole Custer's in second. I'm like, okay, who wrecked? Like, what happened? And they were just cycling through green flag pit stops, but I was freaking out thinking some like a big crash happened or something. But yeah, that kind of thing happens all the time in this sport, especially at the end of stages or in a long green flag run. Somebody that will pop out in the beginning of the or at the front of the race and get some fast laps too. So those are really cool guys to have in the back end for value plays. What about Alex Labby in the 36? Any love for Mr. Labby? LeBay? I don't know how you
LeBay.
pronounce it.
LeBay.
Alex LeBay? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's probably better than some of the guys around him. Like he's definitely more reliable equipment. I can definitely see him getting 10 place differential points. And
A little bit more expensive than the other
yes,
guys in this range.
72 might be a little bit too high for me, but I think, if you look at, he's better than Ryan Vargas, who's $100 more. So,
Yeah.
or Santino Ferrucci,
Yeah.
who's starting 14th. I would rather, save the 200 and take the guy that's starting 36th.
Sure. I like our value guys. I think they're perfect for tomorrow's race. Hopefully, the results show for themselves as well. I thought we broke down quite a bit for everyone. This ran a little longer than usual, so thank you guys for listening in towards the end here, getting yourself a nice little 15% discount code. And Mega, is there anything else to add before we sign off?
No, I'm looking forward to this, and hopefully we'll get a chance to break down Cup tomorrow. So I don't think weather's going to be a factor. It's Phoenix, although I was watching a baseball game the other night and it started pouring. I was just up there in like a desert. Like, where's this rain come from?
It did rain a little bit before the ARCA series tonight.
I don't
So
know.
I remember, yeah. Hopefully all that is done and the weekend is full of some sunshine for us. You would hate to be a NASCAR spokesman or official and think to yourself, why do I have to deal with rain in Arizona? That's just be the last thing they want on their mind.
Yeah. Public service announcement. Don't forget to change your clocks ahead.
Oh yes, good call, good call. Luckily for us, we get a lot of time in between our lock and the time change.
Unless you're actually in Arizona where the race is, because you guys don't believe in daylight savings time.
Yeah, right. Well done, Mega. All right, that'll be it for us. Thank you for listening in this long. As always, guys, you can find our Discord channel for more projections, core lineups for tomorrow and for the Cup Series in our Discord channel. You can find that link on the Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. And you can subscribe to this channel. Comments below, give us a like, please. It is helpful for us and giving you the content that we love to do. Hopefully you got that coupon code. And yeah, that'll wrap things up. We will see you tomorrow for the Cup.